Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to math, and today's lesson is 2.3. Yesterday, you talked about numbers and used words such as greater than or more than. Today, we're going to move on and talk about numbers that are less than. And so, if I were to give you an example, and I said, on this hand, I want you to hold up 2 fingers. And on this hand, I want you to have 1 finger. Which hand is holding fewer fingers? Which hand has fewer fingers or less fingers? Which one? If you said this one, you're right. That means there's only 1. This one is greater because this has 2, which is more than 1. And you can see that because these will line up and then there's 1 extra on that hand. So less than or fewer means the smaller of the 2 numbers that you're comparing. So let's go ahead and take a look at our lesson 2.3 today. You are going to need your counters again to go through this. They actually have some counters for you, but you can use some counters as examples to go through some practice problems with someone at home. So let's go ahead and take a look on page 93. We're really getting up there in workbook pages. How can you compare sets of numbers, objects in one set if one is less than the other? So let's take a peek. In our 5 frame, there are some yellow counters. There's 1 yellow counter. In our bottom 5 frame, there are 1, 2, 3 red counters. So you can match them up. And my question is, which one has less? The top set or the bottom? The top has less. It only has 1. The bottom set would have more. So if you said the top 5 frame, the yellow, you are correct. Let's go ahead and do some more comparing here on the next page. If we look at these 2 sets of 5 frames, this set has 1, 2, 3 counters. So go ahead and trace that 3 with your pencil or a writing utensil. The bottom 5 frame has 2 yellow counters. So go ahead and trace that 2. And let's go ahead and match them up. That matches and that matches. So which one has less? Which one has less? If you said the yellow, you are correct. See, it doesn't have a match here. So not only did you trace this, but you need to circle the number that is less. When we compare, we want to circle the number that is less. Let's go down here to number 2 and let's count our red counters in the 5 frame. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will make a 4 here. And let's go ahead and count the counters in the bottom 5 frame, the yellow ones. But before I count, do you remember what these are called? They are called 5 frames. If all the boxes are full in a 5 frame, how many counters do we have? If you said 5, you are correct. But let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5. So we will go ahead and make our 5 in that box. Now we're going to compare. And remember, we're looking for which number is less. So these match up, match up, match up, match up. There's 1. It doesn't have a match. So which one is less? 4 is less. So please circle your 4 because it is less than 5. 4 is less than 5. Way to go. Let's go ahead and turn to page 95. Now these counters are not in a 10 frame. These are in rows. These ones aren't too hard to count, but you are welcome to put a line through them if you need to. But let's go ahead and count first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and write a 4 on the line down here. And how many yellows? 1, 2, 3. So we'll put a 3 here. And we're going to compare them. Which number is less, or which number is the smallest? 4 or 3? I want you to look. There's a row of 3 and a row of 3. An extra one. There is no extra one. That might help you visualize to figure out which one is less. 3 is less than 4. 3 is less than 4. How many red counters? Just one. That's easy. How many yellow counters? 1, 2. Which is less? Which number is smaller? If you said 1, you are correct. Go ahead and circle it. Now I'm going to teach you something, a symbol that we're going to learn about later on in kindergarten. If less, the number that is less is here, we talk about alligators and that alligators can eat the bigger number. So if I were to draw an alligator's mouth here, and there's his teeth, the alligator would point to the little number and chomp on the bigger number. So I want to show you that symbol real quick. We'll talk about it more as we go along in kindergarten, but it's nice to introduce and know some things ahead of time. But you definitely don't have to recognize or write that symbol just yet. Let's go ahead and go on to our very last page, friends, for our lesson today. And it is on page 96. Miss Vogel's having technical difficulties. There we go. So we are at our mid-chapter checkup. That means we're halfway through. I told you this chapter was pretty quick and pretty simple. If you understand equal or greater, just how to compare numbers, that less than is just one more way. And so you are going to need your counters for this part. Remember I told you earlier? So what I'd like you to do for number 1 is put a counter underneath each of the puppets. And we'll count those puppets. 1, 2, 3. So how many puppets did you have? 3. I want you to put a counter underneath each one. I'm going to draw my counters and I'm going to match them up. You are welcome to do it like me if you want, or you can actually use your counters that Miss Vogel sent home for you. Now how many counters are there? 1, 2, 3. So we'll put a 3 here. And if we were to compare these numbers, what can we say about 3 and 3? Do you remember? They are equal. They are the same. I like to give an equal sign where we put 2 hands together and we do equal. Equal looks like this. That's a symbol that we talk about in math. Equals. So 3 is equal to 3. Okay. All right. So far, so good, boys and girls. Let's go down to number 2 here. And the first thing we're going to do is count. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Which, by the way, if you remember a little bit ago, these are 5 frames. If this were full, that would be 5. What's 1 less than 5? 4. So even without counting, sometimes we can just look at it. That's why we talk about filling our 5 frames or our 10 frames from the left and going over. Now here's a 5 frame and it's full. If our 5 frame is full, how many counters are there? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to compare these two numbers, and I want to know which number is greater. Is 4 greater or 5 greater? You can match them up if you need to. Greater means more, so which one has more? The reds. So we will circle the number that is greater. So I know that you know Which one is greater? We have to circle. And our final problem down here on the bottom, number 3, we're going to think really hard here. Do you see there's a dividing line? There's the first fish bowl, and it has 1, 2, 3 fish inside of it. We need to count how many fish are in each bowl and circle the bowls that have less than 3. Okay? Less than 3. So 1, 2. Is that less than 3? It is. So go ahead and circle it. 1, 2, 3. Is that less than 3? No, that is the same or equal to 3. So we won't circle that fishbowl. And it's okay if you want to put an X on it so you don't get confused and you know we've already counted that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that less than 3? No, that's greater than 3. Greater. And one little fishy in that bowl. Is 1 less than 3? It is. So you would need to circle that last fish bowl as well. Super job. Let's go ahead and on the next 2 pages, you have your homework to do. Some of the same things, and we're comparing numbers to be less than. Something that's really important that we need to do is make sure you're circling mom or dad or whoever's reading those directions. Stop them right now and make sure they read those directions and they remind you to circle the number that is less than. And you'll have to do that on one of these pages, on this one of the problems on this page as well. Okay? Well, good luck. Have a great day, boys and girls, and we'll see you tomorrow during math.